of $10,000 a day.
I'm not stupid. I know this is going to end one day.
You look great.
Thanks.
So good. How have you been?
Yeah, good. Because I feel like the last time I saw you was
Years
ages
ago. Yeah, the Burley
Yeah,
shoot.
the Burley shoot.
Yeah. When was
And then we
that?
moved to London, and then we were supposed to meet up in London, but I guess we're both just like doing our own. Like, let's be real. I think I was just never in town.
Yeah, so did
always
you move
working.
to London? I think I remember that briefly. And then you went to New York.
Yeah.
Wow. You have just
so-
been, I feel like since that Burley shoot, like you was so busy already, and I feel like you educated me just on the amount of success that is really out there for curve women and just like models in general. And then
I forget that I've had conversations with people about that too, and like there are some other like models that have messaged me being like, "Thank you so much for your advice." I'm like, I gave advice.
Yeah, no, you and Stefania, I feel like were just such an inspiration on that shoot, and like you were just so pro and you guys were killing it, and then to like leave that shoot and then to see your career like really skyrocket and you're just like literally all over the world. Like, what has that been like?
It's been pretty crazy, and I think I haven't even, because I've been so busy, I haven't even been able to like stop and take it all in. I think that's like the biggest thing that I'm realizing now that I actually am completely dead, like that I'm not working, is kind of realizing what I have achieved and, you know, just everything that I've done. Because you get to a point, and I don't know if it's with everyone, but you're always wanting to do like the next thing. And so you're like, you know, for me, I've got these goals now for like editorials and you know, fashion covers and stuff, but I forget that I've actually still done all of this other work. And so, you know, you're so focused on the next thing that you don't actually get to appreciate.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's like the nature of modeling, isn't it? Because you'll be on a shoot and you'll be like, but when's the next one? Like, it's just sort of like, things have to constantly going in, because I feel like we sort of live in a space of uncertainty anyways, and it's sort of like surfing this like, it's fine. I don't know what's around the corner.
It's fine. Like, I've got my shit together, I swear.
Yeah.
And then 2 seconds later, you're calling your agent like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah. But what has New York been like? Because I remember you wanted to go, and like it when you mentioned it, it made so much sense. Like I feel like your look would go incredibly there. So what has it been like? What is New York like?
New York is everything I thought it was going to be. I think that's like how I can sum it up in a really succinct sentence.
That's lovely.
It's been really good. Like for me, I found like the right neighborhood for me, I think. And
are you in Brooklyn? Is that?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm in
cool.
Bushwick in Brooklyn.
Sick.
And so, you know, I didn't want to, as much as I wanted to be in Manhattan, just for that kind of, to be in Manhattan, it's so busy there. And like you go in for work anyway, and then you can go out to bars and restaurants and stuff and art galleries and that sort of thing. But there's just so much to do, and like the culture in New York is incredible. People are so social. And I think unlike London, I don't know about you, but I found London was really hard to just like meet random people.
Yeah,
whereas
that's
New
true.
York, people are a lot more friendly. And like if you're in a bar, you know, people will come up to you and strike up a conversation. Or like your group of girls will go mingle with a group of guys and you'll just have like good banter. Whereas like in London that just didn't really happen. Plus I feel just, I don't know, I arrived in New York in the summer, and I think I was able to really go a bit crazy and really live it up for the period, especially that I had when I wasn't working. So like the first kind of couple of months I was just casting and had the odd couple of jobs here and there. And then it just was like, I don't know what happened. It was just like, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But
is that what it's like? Like when you do sort of break through, is it just like a snap of a fingers and all of a sudden you're just like killing it? Or is it like, is it overnight? Like I know you're clearly grinding, but then when it really shoots off, is it like Like, honestly, what is that like? I'm so curious.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's weird because I still feel like, and this is probably my little like demons,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I still don't think I've like hit that point yet. And I think that's just the nature of the industry, because I definitely am. But
what is that point to you then? Is it like literally like Naomi Campbell, like Elle Macpherson, like that sort of status, or is it something else?
For me, I don't want it to, like, I don't want this status as such, but I just, for me, like, one of my biggest goals is to, I say obviously, like, you don't know my goal, but is to have like a magazine cover.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then to be able to use my voice to actually speak up for the things that I want to be speaking about.
Yeah.
And I think once you do have that platform of you know, you are a fashion girl, you can, you know, affiliate yourself with other things, and like brands or charities or organizations are going to be more willing to have you as like a spokesperson rather than just like some rando sharing memes and hashtags on social media.
Totally.
So I think that is where I'm kind of aiming for.
That's amazing. What type of things would you like to speak on? Like, what is your calling, do you feel?
Definitely like women's rights, but and this is why it's hilarious, but I really, and I even just talking about it, I'm like, should I talk about it? But it's basically the injustices in the fashion sector with like women garment workers, and the exploitation at the lowest point of the supply chain.
Oh my God, yes.
Because without those women, we wouldn't have an industry. And, you know, it's really been highlighted now with the coronavirus and all the shutdowns in the factories, and all of these women who have had no rights to begin with have just been like forced out of jobs and are even more vulnerable to exploitation and sexual harassment, abuse, and all of that sort of thing. And it's really heartbreaking.
Oh my God, yes.
So
that's so true, because when I came back to Sydney, I contacted my agent and they were like, well, because of coronavirus, all the factories have shut down and there's no work for models. And I was like obviously, but it was just so interesting. It's just like at such a grassroots level, does the whole thing collapse? Do you know what I mean? Like, here's me flying back, like, yeah, I'm sure I'll work in Sydney, but it's like, no, like, it affects everybody. Like, the factories in China closing down probably shuts the whole world down. Because I was supposed to
go back to Australia at I think it was in February, for a job, but the samples had been delayed because of the coronavirus in China. The samples came from China. Yeah. And then my ship was pushed back to the first week of April. Obviously, like, it never eventuated. Yeah. But I don't think we realised, like, everyone realised how big of a thing it was going to be, even back in, like, January, February, when it was just kind of confined to China. Yeah. And then it just had this huge flow-on effect. And, you know, I didn't think that I would be out of a job in these kinds of circumstances. Like, I've always pre-planned for the when modelling ends kind of scenario, but I didn't think it would be like, and it hasn't ended, it's just on pause, but like the first couple of weeks of quarantine, I was not thinking like that. My head was like all over the place of, oh my God, this is it, I'm done, like, fuck, what am I going to do? Well,
that's what I've been sort of thinking, because I've sort of treated modelling as like some sort of fallback, like I'll dip in and out and do different things, and I was out of my other job, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll go back to that, because I was only working for like 6 weeks, it ended up, but and then that was gone, and I was like, oh shit, like, what will I do? And then I was like, I'll go back into luxury retail. And I was like, oh, I can't do that either. Like, what is your end of modelling plan if it did just sort of like shut?
Yeah, I would probably, and I'm starting to do it now and just send emails out to like NGOs of organizations that I would like to work with, and just start with like, you know, I've sent a couple of emails asking if they need any research done or just any kind of like writing done for them, just because I've got my university degree behind me. I did a double master's as well, so like I have that, but I haven't had work experience for like 5 years.
In what? What's your double master's in?
I did international relations and journalism.
Shit.
So I like majored in human rights and then like digital communication. So like I feel like if now's the time to bow out and just do something else,
and you have a platform. Yeah, you fully have a platform. You can do this. I love that.
But it's just like I'm not quite done with modelling yet.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel like I've still got a couple more things I want to try. Because I haven't been in New York long enough. Like, I really want to give it, you know, everything to say that I tried. I lived here. I lived through this, and I still gave it my best shot. And, you know, if all I do is what I've currently achieved, that's still amazing.
Yeah.
And I can, you know, bow out and be like, you know, it was great, but yeah.
No, totally. That's incredible. That sort of stumped me. What was I gonna ask?
Sorry.
No, I'm just like mesmerized. Like, yes, I'm imagining you being like George Clooney's wife. I can't think of her name.
Amal.
Yeah.
She's so cool. I love, and that's the thing. I look at these like cool Hollywood power couples of like, you know, hot men but like smart women, and I'm like, I want to be that smart woman.
Yeah, you're giving me that vibe.
Beautiful, like, man. Oh my.
Yeah, that'll come real quick. Yeah, this is what I was going to say. New York, what is it like staying there right now? What is it like there right now? Oh my God.
Okay, so I went out today to do like just basic, not even basic grocery shopping. I just wanted to there's a French bakery down the road, and I wanted to get some croissants.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if I'm going to be in isolation, I'm going to be eating the best food. Come on.
Yeah.
But it was really eerie. Because for the past like 3 weeks, I've been avoiding wearing a mask because I didn't think I needed to. And then the CDC guidelines changed, and they said, you know, you need to be wearing a mask.
Really? Like, it's like compulsory. It's like, wear one.
It hasn't been made compulsory, but it's like a recommendation, because apparently like the virus can spread just from people breathing. So I was like, okay, I'm wearing a mask. But as I walked past the grocery store, like the line was longer than I've ever seen it. And that was like first thing in the morning. And there's no one on the street, but like there's still all the homeless people, completely unprotected. And then, you know, it's almost like a milk bar, but it's like almost like a boutique grocery store. It's called a bodega, but
cute. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's like an organic grocery store that's near me, but I went to that one. And since I went last week, they've put up these like plastic screens, and you had to slide your groceries under, and then they slide it back so that you can't even like, it was just really surreal.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the bakery, you go in one door, and then you have to go through this like weird maze, and then you pick up your stuff. It's very impersonal, obviously, because you don't want to be touching people that you don't need to be touching, and picking up germs that you don't need to be picking up. But it's so different. And then the fact that, you know, there's no one around, and you walk past the parks and there's no one in them, and like I've never seen New York like that. Like I've never imagined, like, it's a city that never sleeps, and it's sleeping. Like it's literally in deep slumber. And then obviously wearing my mask, I couldn't breathe properly, so I felt really claustrophobic. And then I get anxiety, and me not being able to breathe, I was then like, I got home and I had like chest pains, and I was like, oh my gosh, no, this is not good. So I was just like, I'm not going out again.
No, that sounds awful.
It's a really bizarre time, and like I knew it was bad, but I have been just in my bubble, in my apartment, just kind of like doing my thing.
Good, yeah, that's
reading my books, trying to like really desensitize myself from the media, because that's where fear kind of comes in at you from all angles. It's bad enough just like people sharing things on
Instagram. Yeah, completely. The morgue situation is what really like got me. Like, do you see any of that, or it's like
not where I am. I'm not near any hospital. Like, I'm not near any of like the big hospitals that they're doing that for. But I do follow a girl. She's another model, but she's like directly opposite one of the big hospitals, and she like is videoing, and she's like, there's another like semi-trailer that's been brought in, like refrigerated semi-trailer to put all the bodies in, and I'm just like, it gives me chills. And then they're making like makeshift hospitals in Central Park, and then they're talking about like just burying bodies in parks, and because they don't have the space in cemeteries or morgues or anything. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is just heartbreaking.
It really is. Like, it's, as you said, like you're staying inside, same, like I'm just sort of in my own little world, and then you just hear these stories, or you see on Instagram someone who's been personally affected, and it's like, oh my God. And even your story, I think maybe it was 2 days ago now, where you spoke about what's going on in India and people not being able to get home, like that was that really educated me, and it just sort of hit home again the scope of this issue. And then I'll get you to speak on it, but you were mentioning about people in Australia being quarantined for 2 weeks in the hotels and sort of complaining about it, and how privileged that really is. And like you're right, like there's people in Vegas sleeping out in the car parks while the hotels are empty. Like, it's just so hard to get your head around it. And I think it also sort of highlights this massive privilege gap, where it's like, the people who had money are now suffering, so help us quickly, like do everything you can to help us. But what about the people who have been suffering forever? Like, they still get ignored. It's like, well, you didn't even have it before, so don't worry about it.
That's the thing. There's such like wealth disparity in America that, the lower income citizens that are usually the immigrants or the African American or Hispanic community, they've always had it tough anyway. And then on top of this, they're the ones that have had all their jobs cut. So now they have no work, and they do qualify for unemployment benefits, but to try and get unemployment, like the website keeps crashing, they're not accepting phone calls, like it's just a nightmare. And then
it's completely inaccessible.
Then the way that like certain races are treated in the medical system anyway, I haven't heard of anything specifically, but there've been a whole lot of kind of talks that I've been seeing around on Instagram talking about, how different people are getting treated for corona differently in hospital based on, their race. And it's just, it's not okay at all, ever. But then, you see all these wealthy people and influencers that have managed to get, corona tests, and, then they go quarantine in their mansions, and they're like, oh my God, this is so hard that, like, we're doing this together, like, pray. I'm just like, it's a bit tone deaf. I think that's like the best word to describe it, because I feel like a lot of people, their hearts are in the right place, but it's not landing. Because it's not landing at all, because so many people have it worse off, and I think I complained once, but my situation is nothing compared to so many other people, and obviously everyone is allowed to feel shit. I don't ever want to take that away from anyone, because your emotions on how you're feeling in this situation are completely valid. But at the same time too, recognizing that your emotions are valid, but also recognizing that there are so many other people that have it worse is so important. Because I think that's how we can pull together as a community and look out for everyone else and look out for others in order to rebuild everyone back up again. Yeah.
100%. I also think what really got me is the fact that if you do have corona or somebody in your family does and they pass away from it, like you can't even be with them in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like that is just horrific to think that you
Yeah.
may die alone or that you can't even be there with your mum as she's passed. Like it's honestly shocking.
Yeah, and that's what my mum, like, because my parents are in France, and then
Oh, they are?
well, there's this crazy story with my family, but we can get into that later if we've got time.
Yeah.
But my grandma's still in Australia, and she was, you know, still going out to do her groceries and going out to...
Hang on, give me one sec. I just want to make sure. Yeah. I'm just like paranoid that it wasn't recording.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, anyways,
like, not funny, but funny,
yeah, no,
but,
it's fine.
yeah.
Your grandmother, yeah, she's in Australia or?
Yeah, so she's in Canberra, and she was, you know, still going out to do her grocery shopping and going to church and all that sort of thing. And my mum was calling from France, being like, "Mum, like, stay inside. Don't be silly." And she's like, "Oh, but you know, I'm old. Blah 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 blah. If it's my time, it's my time." And I get.
Yeah,
my grandma's been like that since she turned 70. She's now 85. She's like, "It's my time to go. It's my time to go." But my mum was like, "But if you die, not only will you not have anyone allowed to come hold your hand as you're dying, like, it's not a fun death. Like, it's going to be slow, and you won't have your loved ones." And my mum explained it to her, and my grandma was like, "Okay, I'll stay inside," kind of thing. It's just, and just like for me, just thinking that there are so many people that have not had their loved ones with them.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I only heard that like a couple days ago, and I was like, wait, what? And then like obviously that makes so much sense because of the contamination, but it's just this horrific disease that's like swept the world in a matter of weeks. But also,
and the thing is, I think the thing that is this, I think the scariest thing for me is that we're not going to be able to go back to our way of life until there's, I guess, like a solution. So we're still not going to be able to see our friends. Even once this passes, I don't think we're going to be able to like socialize and live the way that we think we're going to be able to live once it's, you know, we've flattened the curve.
Yeah.
And I think that's still where I'm like, but once we flatten the curve, what's next after that? Like, how long is this actually going to be going on for?
Yeah.
And will it come back? Like, you know?
Yeah, like a superbug. No, it won't. So
manifest it.
Yeah. So what is your like in saying all that? So what are you feeling about staying in New York? Like, are you afraid? Like, what's the thought process?
So very early on, I decided to stay because I had worked so hard to get to New York, and I'd been harassing my agents for so long to base me out of New York so that I could just live life in New York.
Great.
Because I think since I moved to New York, I've probably only been physically in New York for 4 months. I'm coming up on a year in like a few days.
Really? Because you've just been flying all over the place.
Yeah, so I hadn't really had the time to properly connect with people and build friendships and build relationships, and I was kind of like, no, my home is here now. I've got this nice apartment. I really want to, you know, live in it. And obviously, I can't really do anything. Like, I can't see people. I can't build the relationships, but I'm still in the same place, and I've been in the same place now for like 2 months, and it's really nice.
Yeah.
Because I'm on a regular sleep schedule, and I'm waking up and you know, I'm cooking, and so I'm looking at the small things of this and kind of making the most of it. But as for like staying permanently in New York, as this kind of progresses, I'm just taking it on a day-by-day basis, I think. Like at the moment, I'm going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
I think in the next month, I think we'll probably have answers as to what's happening within our industry.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we're allowed to or if we can be shooting from home, or if we can have like small studios of like 5 people, so like a photographer, an assistant to help the photographer, and then like hair and makeup and the model, and also and stylist kind of thing, so that we can start shooting again. But then I kind of sat down quite early on and worked out my budget, figured out how much money I actually have to stay with, because obviously like rents in New York are crazy expensive.
Are they freezing it though?
Nope.
No.
Not yet anyway. So I still have to pay rent apparently, and I don't want to do this because I don't want to at the end of this get kicked out of my apartment, but you know, some people just aren't paying. Can't get evicted for 90 days because of the coronavirus. So technically I'd end up losing like my security deposit, and then in 3 months I could just leave. Like move somewhere else. But I don't want to have to do that either. If I feel like that's just adding unnecessary stress to my already very stressful situation. So I'm kind of just trying to be as compliant as possible. But, you know, we've also got clients that aren't paying invoices because they've had to go into furloughs. So,
I was really scared of that.
We've already worked for, and they've already used for advertising, they're not paying and they're holding on to. And, you know, I'm now a bit worried because I was like, you know, I worked in March and you know, I should have had stuff coming in even for jobs that I worked in like November, December. But they're not coming in, and so I'm like, well, that's not fair.
Because you work there. It's such a funny like job, because you go and
like the campaigns come out too. Like
it's so not fair.
So I am just, you know, that's why I have an agency. So hopefully they'll figure it out for me, and then I've got my taxes due as well, and I'm hoping that I can get something back, and then I've got to apply for unemployment insurance in the States. I've applied for something back in Australia too, but I don't know if I'm allowed to get it. But I figure if I'm unemployed, I'm unemployed. So it doesn't really matter where I am. I should be entitled to something.
Of course.
So yeah, and then I think I've got 6 months worth of savings.
Well, that's how long they
really
think.
Consider.
Yeah, and like worst case, hopefully they might lift the borders or whatever, and the tight restrictions in Australia if you do need to come back. In 6 months, like surely it.
Well, that's the thing. They're not going to leave me stranded if I'm a citizen and I'm like, got kicked out of my apartment because I can't pay rent anymore because I don't have a job. Like, they're not going to be like, no, sorry, you've got to stay in America.
No.
They're going to be like, no, we're going to get our people home. So
no, you have a great attitude about it. Let's sort of pick up the mood because it's all very depressing.
I know. I feel like all my conversations are like that though. We start off not talking about it, and then we end up talking about it, and it's like, damn.
No, but I think what you've just said is like really helpful to other models, because it's sort of a peculiar, interesting situation to be in, and like the nature of the industry is different to any other job as well. So just the fact that you've settled that, I think, is like really helpful, like with the taxes, and like also shedding light on when you work, but now all the stuff is gone under, so like, you know, your payment is gone. But anyways, what I want to talk about is, so what's the correct, it's curve, right? I want to say the right word and everything for
like the industry.
Yes, because I don't want to, because plus size model isn't.
I guess it's curve. Like, some people still say plus size, but I've just started calling myself model.
Yeah, of course,
that's what I am.
because that's where, and that I think that's the ultimate and the pinnacle, and I think we're really close to that, anyways. But I sort of think like your role as a model is having like a dynamic impact on body image for young women and girls all ages. Like it's really creating change, and shifting perceptions and all of that. And it's relatively new, I guess, as well. Like, how old do you reckon it is that we've seen this?
It's pretty new. I want to say, like, especially within Australia, I feel like maybe 4 or 5 years of it being
like huge, probably.
Huge. Well, not even huge. I think now it's kind of like almost mainstream. Like, I think you will always see like a range of sizes in advertising now. I still don't think it's there, because I look at America and they're almost out of the tokenistic space, whereas I think Australia is still very tokenistic.
Yeah.
You know, I look back at some of the things that I was booked on, and I would be the only mixed race or like person of color, but then I was also like the plus size. So they kind of killed two birds with one stone.
That is
like,
so real.
She's a double whammy. She's the mixed race and plus size.
Yeah. Well, I found that I was losing jobs because I wasn't plus size. Like, they wanted that, like, if she's going to be mixed, like, can she be bigger as well? And I was just like, can we just all be like different people? Like, you know, I love that you mentioned the tokenistic aspect, because I really struggle with that on shoots, because I feel like that is usually my role, to be there to tick their box, like, yay, we have an afro and she's brown. But like, that's also my money.
I would always have the opposite, in the sense that I would sometimes miss out on jobs because I didn't have the afro. Like, I was mixed race but without the afro. Because they wanted to start, like, you know, if she's going to be mixed race, you have to be obviously she's mixed race. Like,
there's all these conditions on us as mixed race, like.
Yeah. And it's like, if you're mixed race, there's so many different kinds of mixed race that are still not even shown. Like, what about an African Asian?
Yeah.
Or like an Indian.
Yeah, there's just so many different.
I don't know, there's just so many. Or like, I can't even.
Yeah,
I'm just
there's
like,
literally so many different types of people. Like, why do we have to fit into these boxes? But then at the same time, I was like, this is my money. So, like, I'm grateful for this job. So it's like this funny sort of double-edged sword where it's like, this is like wrong, but I guess, you know, we have to get there. This is a process and this is a journey, and like, I'm contributing to it. So yeah, it's fine. But what I guess I was wanting to say is, like, what impact do you think it would have had on you if the industry is where it's at now when you were a little girl?
Oh, that is such a good question. I honestly think it would have made my life completely different, in terms of the way that I viewed myself within society. And that's like my biggest thing when I talk about representation and why it really matters, because I don't think Australia is there at all. And I hear people saying like, oh, we've done so well, I think we're doing a really great job. And I'm like, you're a white man talking about how good representation and diversity is, and it's just not there. Like, if I was growing up now, or like, you know, if what I was seeing now was happening when I was growing up, I probably wouldn't be questioning my my puberty journey. Like, and when I started developing all of these new like curves, I wouldn't have been trying to get rid of them. I probably would have been like, oh, I idolize, you know, Ashley Graham.
Yourself,
look at her, like,
as
isn't
well.
she, you know, someone like me,
Yeah.
or Paloma, or I'm just trying to think of like other curvy women, just Serena Williams, like all of these other incredibly beautiful curvy women that aren't just curvy or beautiful, that they're also like smart powerhouse women. Like, I just think who I saw myself in the world would have been really different, and I feel like I probably would have felt more compelled to take up space and be more vocal and be a voice, rather than feeling like I had to kind of dim myself down to kind of fit in, because, or like try and change myself to be more like the mainstream ideal of beauty, which was very white.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I look back now and I'm like, I was literally trying to make myself look like a skinny white girl, and I was never going to look like that. So I was always going to be tormented inside. Like, I was always going to have these issues.
Yeah.
Because I could never get there. Like, it was physically impossible for me to be a white girl.
Thank God for that as well. Like,
I know.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like you're great. Like,
trying to change yourself,
yeah,
to change your race, I just think is
yeah,
not a
no,
good thing.
definitely not.
Yeah.
I find it interesting in modeling as well. Like, it's almost like a microcosm, like the purest sort of essence of what where society is in terms of like their booking. Like, it has to reflect, you know, society's ideals. So at the, like, there can't be a campaign, well, I'm sure there is, but like not like a mainstream one of just like only black women, and it not be like some sort of diversity, like, look, this company is really trying to do something. Like, we're not there yet. Like, we can have two at a stretch, maybe one light skin, one dark skin, and an Asian and Indian, and maybe 4 white girls. One, you know, it's just interesting, I feel, on shoots to just, it's like, this is a reflection of where society is. But like, I was going through your Instagram the other day, and like, I loved the Rush editorial that you did. Like, I love Rush magazine.
God, I love that too.
Yeah, it's so gorgeous. Like, you've just been...
my first editorial as well, which I was like, I was so happy about. Yeah, because I've been dying to do editorials for ages, but because I think...
Explain to me what an editorial is as well, just for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, so editorial is like the fashion shoots that you see in magazines.
Right. Yeah, I would love to do one of those. I haven't done one of those. That's beautiful.
Or they're just like the creative, non-advertisement shoots. It's like the actual art.
Like the beautiful stuff. Like,
so you've got the photographer with their vision, and they've got their lighting that they want, and then you've got the stylist who's really putting together these looks, and then you've got the models who know how to move their body and you know, move and you know, pose, and it's just like this whole collaborative art form. It's just so nice.
No, I love that. I really want to do that as well. Like, I've always been told that I have a very commercial look, which, like,
that's where the money is.
Yeah, I know that's where the money is, but I want to do that gorgeous stuff too. You know, I want like crazy makeup and like just have fun. Like, who says who's commercial and who's not? Like, it's usually white girls that I guess are editorial, right? Or like, I guess it's usually like a white girl that I see doing editorials with, or like, it's just particular molds. Or like a black girl with a shaved head, not like...
Yeah, or like someone with really unique features.
Yeah.
It's almost like the quirky girls and the cool girls.
Yes.
And like that really
cool girls.
Kind of almost weird but weird cool girls.
Yeah.
Get the editorials, but then like the more conventionally pretty girls get the commercial work, and the editorial girls are like, I want the commercial work because they're all broke, and then the commercial girls are like, I want to do editorial, but you know, we're the ones, you know, actually making decent money, and there's to have the two is so hard.
It's interesting. I wonder if after this the industry will change, because it's almost like the models have to take it into their own hands. I'm just sort of thinking this out loud, like, you know, what we're doing and what you're doing, and like, if we start to shoot our own stuff, and it's like, I'm going to do this creative with it if I get to shoot this. So
well, that's what I think this time is really good for us now, and I've kind of been thinking, we've got our Instagrams to really showcase who we are. So for me, I've been really thinking about who I want to present myself as, and like, who am I really, you know? And I've been looking through my Instagram, and it is just, it's very commercial. It's very you know, look at this shoot I've done and look at my makeup and all of that sort of thing. But at the essence, it wasn't a real reflection of like who I was.
No.
So I've decided I'm kind of in this, I guess you can call it like a rebrand of my image, of just really showing people not necessarily like the real me, because I still want to keep a lot of that private, but just more me through my imagery that I'm creating, and like, I don't know, just experimenting with makeup and lighting and showing my fashion and speaking up more for what I believe in. And I think, you know, we have a real chance to show brands and to show everyone ourselves in this time, because we've got all this time on our hands. So I guess at the end of the day too, like, we are artists, we're models, but you know, we come under the artist umbrella. So why not create art and, you know, entertain people in this time? I think that's the way that I'm seeing it.
No, 100%. I love your Instagram. I love seeing you go to all these exotic locations and like you just look gorgeous. So I'm like fangirling. I think that's really it. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. This has been like so like nourishing. I really like it.